We are Leashed Dads. He is Justin.
And that's Jared.
We are two leashed dads who get together to discuss our everyday life, as well as discussing communication skills and or categories of said communication between our, you know, spouses, children, just communication, making sure it's open and positive in this day and age.
And meaningful.
And meaningful. You don't just want to spout nonsense 24/7 to your family. That's nonsense.
Guys, I do it all the time. It loses meaning pretty quick.
So how was your week? We took a little sabbatical here.
We did. Well, my little sabbatical consisted of me. We were supposed to have an episode last week, and sorry we didn't get to it. There were family things going on that needed to be settled. Um, yeah, so let's see here. Week has been last week was pretty good. I feel like it was pretty eventful. Finally completed training with soft launch at the end of April / beginning of May here. So that was great. We had really a first full day on the phones back on the first week of May here, or the first day of May, I guess. That would have been the first, honestly. Holy crap. Um, uh, we also then rolled out some minimum expectations. So, people aren't just dicking around all day. And yeah,
That's a
with
good
the
thing.
with a with a soft launch and a full day of being on the phones, you got to have something going.
Yeah.
Now they don't expect us to have like 500 or like 80 dials a day by any means, because this is kind of an account management position. Um, but they still expect us to do some kind of work, uh, researching the client or the provider, for example, because I'm calling doctors. So researching the provider a little bit, kind of getting an idea of what they might be doing, like if they're working with children or who they're seeing, their demographics really. Um, so take some time to do that. Um, Hell, Friday I took a day off. I went out to
Nice.
Minnesota. I went to go see Against the Current, which is a rock band for all of you. I recommend, if you have Spotify, well, hopefully you have Spotify since you're listening to us, uh, on Spotify. Type in Against the Current. Again, they're a rock band. They started off here in New Jersey. They have slowly been growing, I would say. Most of their a big they have a bigger fan base out in Europe, which is funny because they're originated out here in the states of New Jersey.
That is weird.
Uh, yeah, but it is what it is. I mean, I think they've done more tours out in the European area, um, or more tours there than. I won't say they haven't done it here, but you think they're also, I can't say, Europe is smaller by any means, but maybe a little more compact in a sense of where they do tour and people are willing to
Hmm.
see, where, it feels like the states are a little more spread out of where they do go and spread their words. So, Against the Current concert, rock, again, they're a rock band, phenomenal. With this tour that they were on and the concert I went and saw, there were two actually Australian bands, which which is funny because I mean, not the fact that them being an Australian band is funny, but just the way it was. So my friend Matt and I, who you met in like one of our very first episodes, he had gotten me into it and gotten me into Against the Current, and we went and saw a concert, and it was essentially a three-man band. Right? It's a drummer, it's a guitarist, and then Chrissy. It's Will, Dan, and Chrissy. Chrissy's the lead
I'm looking
singer.
at that now.
Uh,
It's a trio, huh?
Yeah, so it's a trio. But then you've got the Australian bands that come out. You've got Yours Truly, which is another three-man band. So it's like Against the Current started a new meta of band, three people. Um, but then when they came out to concert or came out on stage, they had broke their own meta. Like Yours Truly and the other band had 3 people only. Then you got Chrissy, Will, and Dan, and then you got a bassist, and then somebody on keyboard. So it's like you had 5 people on the stage. What?
Wow.
More or less, I believe it's also a marketing thing that they've always had those 3 as like the core group, um, that actually grew together and started the band together. So, usually you'll just probably see those 3 in pictures or on their albums, whatnot. Um, but it was just kind of funny. Like Matt and I had discussed, it's like, is this the new meta for bands? But um, it's been pretty amazing. We played a lot of Pokemon Go out in Minnesota, so I had some
Oh,
additional things
nice.
going on there, just keeping ourselves entertained. Um, Monday, returned to the work grind, which is kind of whatever. I'm actually starting to do more things with the company as well. Finally, and by doing more things, I'm actually going to be volunteering on this give back bus, and it's actually funny because it's called a mystery give back bus. I have no
Oh,
idea where we're
okay.
going to volunteer, but the people or like the committee that set it up are really the only people know, and it's a secret basically. Um, but it's only kind of like a 4 hour ordeal. So that'll be kind of nice. Uh, that's coming up here. I will have to tell you about it when it does happen or after it does happen. So you'll hear about it in about, I would say, 2 weeks or so. Um, on that episode. Uh, and then yesterday was kind of another day of emotional turmoil. Um,
Uh-oh.
yeah. Now I'm gonna kind of go on the negative side here, and I don't mean to. But I found out that one of my family members passed away unexpectedly.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
So
man.
yeah, well, shit happens, I guess. Again, it was unexpected, so I don't know the full details. But no more pain, honestly. For my aunt or and everything. So now we just gotta recover. But it feels like I haven't had a chance. Like my family has not had a chance at all to recover. They've had
Seriously.
over 8 months or so. I would say about 8 months
Mm-hmm.
now. Uh, 4 or 5 funerals.
Sucks,
September,
man.
October, January. Um, I just had one here late April, and then now we have another one coming up. So it's just not good. It's just been a hell of a ride. Um, but yeah, so that's the negative side or downside. So back to some happy stuff here. I did actually want to shout out to one of our listeners as they shared a story with me about them listening to our podcast. It's the funniest
Nice.
shit ever too, because it was one of our episodes where we started talking about food. We had gone off on it was one of our tangents, okay? And she told me the story where she had gone through Taco Bell drive-through and it
Oh
hit
no,
that
I know where
moment
this
where
is
we started
going. Oh
talking about
no.
Taco Bell. Funniest shit ever was this was the part where we started talking about burritos or just kind of favorite food from Taco Bell, and I mentioned that it was pseudo Mexican food. Funny thing is, the guy at the window was a little Hispanic.
Well, then
So
he
when
should
she had
know.
it on and she didn't pause it though, like I was like, why didn't you pause it? She's like, I didn't know it was gonna happen.
You don't know what's gonna
But
come out of our mouth, you know?
exactly, you don't know what's coming out of our mouths at that time. Now, granted, you can probably foresee if you're going through Taco Bell and all of a sudden you hear something about Taco Bell coming up, you go, oh, quick pause, especially if you don't know what's coming out of our mouths. But she kind of walked away and somebody else had to come hand her the food because I'm pretty sure they felt a little, embarrassed or like,
Oh
what
boy.
the hell's going on? But shout out to our one of our listeners. Thank you very much for sharing that. If you want to share more stories like that or some kind of random experience, feel free to do so. We will tell you how to
Yes.
reach us at the end.
Okay. At the end.
Oh, at the end. So that is kind of my week here. Um, yeah, Jared, tell me about your week. or your past 2 weeks, I should say, since it's been so long.
Well, yeah, I know. It's just been mainly work. I love it when my stepson asks me, after a couple weeks, what have you been doing? Work. It's the truth. But no, I had a situation pop up where uh, there was a push to become more current with my workflows. A push that came from kind of nowhere because I've been behind for so long, but whatever. And it came at a really great time because my renewals slowed down during the summer, except for July and then September. Wait, no, July and then October. So it came at a really good time where I was able to just grab the bull by the horns and just tackle the backlog of work that I had. And thankfully, I'm at a very good spot as of now.
Nice.
2 weeks later, I'm at a very good spot as of now where I am able to work ahead. Again, thank God for the timing of all this, because without the timing of the relaxing of the emails coming through and the phone's not ringing off the hook, it really allowed me to just, like I said, grab the bull by the horns and just get it done. So I'm very, very happy that that's the way it is. In fact, tomorrow is another day where I can start moving forward with a few things and getting ahead of the ball instead of constantly being behind. So
Nice.
very
like
busy.
I'm surprised you don't ever tell your stepson like the details of your work rather than just be like, work. Why don't you ever go into details with him?
I have. He doesn't really get into like a lot of the follow-up questions. It's just like me talking about it. And he knows that I'm in insurance, and I when he was in second grade, I even went to a school to like do a presentation of like what my parents do kind of thing. So he knows I'm in insurance, but I don't know if he knows really.
Like a career day kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to talk about insurance to a 13-year-old. They don't really get it. But
Heavens, yes. You should get insurance at 13. Why? Because if you get hurt or whatever. Wait, that's the wrong type of insurance that we're dealing with.
Yeah, right.
Give me a call.
If you guys just give me a call. I'll start talking about my day to day, and the importance of it. I'll get your kids to sleep. Don't worry.
Maybe the school district needs to hire you guys or take your insurance for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I mean, it is commercial insurance, right?
Yep.
So there you go.
I've never had a school board on my book before, though. I've only dealt with it kind of adjacent.
There's always a first.
Yeah, because I've had many. Well, that's not true. I've had churches that have had schools, so I kind of know that area of insurance. A lot of sexual abuse coverage, for sure. That's very important with that kind of stuff. So
it is.
It's important wherever you go. Let's not get into my job.
That's not what we're here tonight.
No. Okay, if you guys want recommendations on insurance, I guess you can reach out to me, but I can't really tell you where I work because I don't want to be giving advice.
Yeah, that would be a bad thing. Anywho.
Anyway.
Continue. Sorry to take you on your tangent.
I was able to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Very emotional movie for me and my wife. Guardians of the Galaxy is actually what got me into the MCU. Before I saw Guardians 1, I was like, MCU's stupid. I'm not into this whole superhero thing. I don't care. I saw Guardians of the Galaxy, and I was like, okay, let's start this from the beginning. So we watched every single movie in the timeline of the MCU. It took a while, but it was great. I just love the music. The music is the main thing I love about it. I mean, I'm a huge science fiction nerd and a big Star Trek, Star Wars, and it's best of both worlds. Superheroes, it's science fiction, It's great. But the movie, I'm not going to say anything more about it. Just go if you guys are into it. I was laughing, I was crying. It was constant. It was great. So, and it's the last
Hmm.
one of the series. So,
So they say. Actually, yeah, I believe that's true. Based on what Disney and MCU have actually come up with as their phases. So,
yep.
taking a look at that, there's definitely some phases that are coming up. With Ant-Man and Wasp, Quantumania. Um, that I think this section is actually phasing, or be either the end of one phase and the start of the other, or
Yeah.
kind of starting to show off one of their next big villain that they'll be taking on,
Correct. Yeah,
or super villain.
yeah.
So
They're ending and starting really soon.
yeah.
I think this year. And then, of course, I'm a
Hmm.
big DC fan as well, so I'll be seeing The Flash in a couple weeks. But I
That's
don't think there's
exciting.
any more MCU movies coming out this year.
Not anytime soon.
No. I know that Loki season 2 is supposed to be coming out, but anyway,
Tangent.
tangent. Hello, watch out. Anyway,
You know
I
the funny
ended up
thing is,
having what?
we talked about Guardians of the Galaxy. I first
Yeah,
got into the Guardians of the Galaxy at the second volume, and I had no
I
idea what
like the
was.
second one more than the first.
Well, here's the thing. I started watching it with my wife, and I'm like, why are they stealing things? And she's like, oh, we need to go back and watch the first one. It'll give you better
Oh,
back,
okay.
or better idea of what it is or what's going on. It's like, oh, okay, fine. So, I mean, Baby Groot was so adorable, though. But yeah,
Oh
I get it.
no.
All right, sorry. I had to get that in there because we were talking about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great series. I love it. And then I ended up having that interview for a higher position at my company. I knew it was a long shot, and I knew it was Hail Mary time. I know I'm not gonna get it, but I really wanted to make sure that my voice is being heard. That I am looking for some sort of leadership role, whether it be in that company or a different one. So I wanted to make sure that they knew that, and they didn't. So I'm glad I applied.
That's a
And
good
then
step. I
yeah,
I applaud you.
yeah, and thank you. And it really it ended up better than I thought because I walked away knowing that they're going to give me the experience I need. So next time something like that comes up, I'm gonna be ready. Because that's the main thing that I don't have is the experience to become part of the leadership department leader or like manager. I don't have any
Hmm.
concrete experiences. I have little examples here and there of how I led different departments and everything else at different companies, but nothing concrete that I can say honestly, yes, I was a manager at this place or I was assistant manager. I don't have anything like that. So and that's where they're gonna take me. So
Well, that's good for you. I mean, I've been in that boat. I'm getting my name out there. I've actually talked to people at my company as well. Heck, I had a town hall meeting honestly recently where it's basically a company wide kind of thing where the like board members, so the CEO, CFO, they all are sitting at a table, right? Like an actual table panel, and they're discussing how like the year looked last year, what to look forward to in the upcoming year and whatnot. And I talked to two of them after the meeting itself and told them, "Hey, this is what I'm looking for. Like, how do I get here?" Or I even said I would love to be on the panel actually
mm-hmm.
eventually.
Yeah.
So networking is key. Um, Now you mentioned you don't have like the like actual experience. That's okay. You don't necessarily have to. If you provide great examples that of some, and I've learned this through mentorship and whatnot. Maybe taking some small things on where maybe you have a new hire come in. You don't necessarily have to be a manager to train them. Just got to be willing to do it. Tell your manager, hey, or even reach out to your manager or boss or whoever you report to and be like, is there anything I can help you with? I know, granted, like you said, you're weak now. Like tomorrow, you're going to be able to move forward with things instead of all the backlog that you had to deal with. Reach out to your boss and be like, hey, is there anything I can help you with on your end? Don't be afraid to do that. That's my advice for that. So, um, just having that experience there and here and there. But if they're gonna, they're also probably gonna work with you as well, hopefully. Um, but again, kudos to you, applaud you. So good job, keep it up, and you'll land that. You'll land that sucker one day. But anyways, all right. So interview. When is it expected? Don't doubt yourself though. Sometimes they might find people that aren't as qualified as you, and then you are the best candidate.
That's
So
true.
don't ever think
And
don't
they
ever
were
think
only
poorly.
doing inside looking in before they posted on
Yeah.
the outside world. So
There you go. So
yeah.
help you with planning to grow a little bit. Do what you can.
Hmm. And I'm young.
Anyways,
I'm
continue.
turning 32 in a few days here, so I got time.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, your birthday's coming up.
Huh?
I forgot your birthday was coming up.
Yep.
God damn it. You're
Monday.
old. Monday,
I'm older than you
Monday.
are.
You're getting old. I know. That's why I said you're old. I still got time. I still got like 4 months after your birthday.
Oh boy. So
I
you're
know.
a few months younger than me. Oh boy.
Oh no. Heavens Lord. Anywho, all right, so let's mosey on back in. Talk what is your plan then? How are you gonna plan to grow? Or what are some of your steps since this is one of those things? I would love to hear more of your plan. Maybe we don't go dive in details, but you know.
Well, when I get it back from HR, I'll let you know.
Fair. I like the
There you go.
positivity there.
Yep.
Staying positive, guys. So, who's ready to rock? Who's ready to get into the big
Let's
discussion?
communicate. Yeah.
We're gonna communicate. So Jared's gonna focus on communicating his plan with us next time, after he hears back, which is awesome. Keep us in the loop. So for all you listeners out there, please, tune in next time and tune in for more about Jared's life and how he plans. It's parental guidance. It's a PG type movie with a 13 after it, but it's a PG movie. God, we're terrible. Okay, communication. We're going to communicate now. We're going to have, as Jared mentioned, talking about really focusing on communication with your spouse, your children, whoever it really may be, to make sure you have a positive outcome in what's going on around your house. As we may all know, when you have a negative outcome, it tends to look bad, or maybe raise concerns, or even further into a hole. So tonight, maybe let's kind of focus on. We'll focus on some experiences, and hopefully we can help everybody out there that feels like they're having a negative experience. Try to turn it around and be positive, or start making more of a positive outcome rather than having a negative outcome and feeling like trash all the time when nothing's going your way, or feel like nothing is going your way. All right. So, how many of you out there, granted, children are a factor already because you're family, right? You're married, you have family. How many of you out there are good at... Okay, you don't have to be married, but, together, dating, whatever, with your significant other. How many of you are out there that actually stand together when your children try to pit you against each other? And what I mean by that is, Dad...
I try.
Right. But what I mean, if you're not getting a clear idea of what this is, Dad, can I go do this No. You get one answer from one parent. Mom, can I go do this? Sure. Okay. Kid comes downstairs. Dad, or, the opposite parent goes, where are you going? Oh, well, mom said I can go do this. So much for being on the same page. Stand
Mm-hmm.
together. If you let your kids pit you against each other, chaos is gonna happen. My wife and I have actually been working on that, so we don't have our children pitting us against each other. We do stay in communication, um, and this can be of many ways, right? Um, probably the most shameful way to do this, but it can be effective. Is like, all right, Dad, can I play a video game? Go ask your mom. Go find out what your mom says. All right. What did
Exactly
mom
what I
say?
do.
She said no. Well, yeah, exactly. I'm on the same page. No. Not saying that's going to be the best thing, but try to stay in communication with that so they can't do this, where they say yes or no. Maybe sometimes just be in the earshot of the child and the other parent, or what there may be. That can help you out. That way you guys are on the same page. Um, because these are going to be more like split second decisions, right? You've got to start making, um, or maybe come up with scenarios with your spouse when you have time. Honestly, sit back, come up with some scenarios. Be like, okay, well, child A is going to come up to us and say, "Hey, can I go out and play on the weekend?" And they haven't done their chores. And one of your criteria is, okay, you can go play, but your chores have to be done first. And make sure both parents are in agreement. Jared, what do you got for examples, or what is your thought on standing together?
Well, it's very important. I don't know if this is healthy or good, but if I want to say something, if I want to say no to a child, and I almost am sure that mom will say yes, then I will just go have them ask her because I don't want to say yes, but I'd also don't want to get caught saying no either. I don't. It's very confusing, and I've been in situations where I've automatically said no and then not given it any thought, and then we have a discussion after that whole ordeal about why
Hmm.
she said yes and why it's not a bad thing or it's not a reason to say no, if that makes sense. Like, so can I have ice cream after dinner?
Hmm.
Or eating dinner, there's still food on their plate, can I have ice cream? The rule in the house is if you did not eat your dinner, you cannot have ice cream or any dessert at all. But if you
Like you have
try
to finish your plate, right?
and huh? What?
Is it you have to finish your plate, or if you just don't touch anything?
No, you have to eat it all. And we don't give our kids a ton of food. It's standard kid sized portions. Not that you guys think I'm piling mashed potatoes on my kids' food and telling them to eat it all, otherwise they don't get candy or whatever. It's a reasonable amount of food. Something that we know they'll eat. As far as if it's something that we know they don't like, they gotta try it first, and then they can get something else to eat. I think we've discussed this before on the podcast, where I
Yeah,
was
one
giving
of
the
our
example
episodes.
of a situation that one parent might say no and the other one might say yes. I'm always the don't eat, don't have sweets, but I've been coerced, and it makes sense, and I'm not against this. If they try it and they eat something else, they can have like a lower grade dessert. For example, tonight we had some chickpeas curry with rice. Okay, Eleanor ate her rice, so she was able to get like one of those freezer popsicle things. The you know what I'm talking about. In the clear tube.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Hmm.
that's that. I mean, she loves them, so I guess whatever. But it's a downgrade in our mind from ice cream, which is what their ideal food is. So my
I like how
thoughts
you go
on
about
the
that.
yeah, my thoughts on the pinning your pinning the parents against each other are, if there are situations that your partner disagrees with you saying no to and they overhear it, it's good to have a conversation of why did you say no or why did you say yes and come to a negotiation as or a compromise, and for the next time that situation comes about you have a direct plan and an agreement about what each parent is going to say.
Yeah. Or make sure that both. I mean, I love your example. My example was just trash, right? Um,
No, it's
but
not
it's kind of
trash.
it's one of those everyday examples where it's a split second decision, like yes or no. Um, but yeah, I agree. If you have one of those, that's where communication comes in as well. Find out why the other parent is saying the opposite answer, for example, or
Yep.
why, so, or have both of you come together so you can have an idea of why you're both saying one versus the other. Um, that way, that allows you to stand together the next time it comes up, or even something very similar to that. I do like the idea though, because there was something about eating, but not. I think it had to deal with my 4-year-old, where you don't want to force them to eat and not give them like dessert, because you don't want it to treat it like it's. Granted, we were taught differently, where if you don't eat all your food or you don't eat your food, you don't get dessert, right? Kind of like dessert is a treat, and that's still my mindset. Is dessert is technically a treat, like something
Right.
you do deserve after you finish eating your food. Now,
Right.
my wife and I are on a very good thing here with food. You got to try it, right? And if you don't touch it, fine. Or if you don't like it, that's fine. But you need to eat something else that's healthy as well, or, that has
Yes.
protein in it or something. That way, you're still getting something in a sense rather than just snacking on junk food, for example, like fruit snacks. Um, Now, granted, fruit snacks are maybe somewhat healthy, but not. I'm talking now. All of a sudden, you don't go snack on or don't go eating Oreos only to try to get your way into ice cream later on.
Right.
That's not how that works. You can't have junk food only to have more junk food on top of it. Um, so we're definitely on the same page with that. And I like how you brought that up. Maybe that downgrade idea is definitely a good idea too. So if that's something you guys are interested in trying, give it a shot. Again, talk with your spouse or your significant other and find out what their thoughts are too. Don't It doesn't have to be an argument. Just be like, hey, we talked. I heard about this. I think this is a great idea. What are your thoughts? What should we try for our children or when we do plan to have children? Let's be on the same page. Come up with, again, scenarios that you guys can start being on the same page for. Um, Here's a huge one, and I'm gonna hate talking about it just because I feel like I have a lack of it, and by lack, I feel like I don't contribute enough in this regards. But finances,
It's a tough one, and
finances.
I do not like talking about it. I don't know why. I just don't. Maybe if we were more well off, then I would, but no, it's a struggle because when you look at, I don't know, I don't want to get too personal, but it's hard to talk about. Yeah, and I know you have it. I think a little worse than me, but
No, I can't say. I mean, right now it doesn't help that my wife is on leave, maternity leave, and milking it basically. I mean, but
that's important
kudos,
too.
right?
Yeah,
It is important. Things are going on. Okay. it is important to soak up, especially when it's the last kid we're gonna have. Why not just enjoy it while you can? It does hurt us, but at the same time, we're still off. We're still okay with what we have. Not like we're gonna be losing our house or anything. Um, Knowing where you stand, like to my point a little earlier, I don't like talking about it either because I don't feel like I contribute enough. My paychecks are definitely not as strong as my wife's. So she, at that standpoint, she is really contributing more to our financial or where we're at financially versus me. Now, granted, on the flip side though, okay, I work from home. A huge thing when COVID came, right? Daycares closed down because blah 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 blah, or they remained open only for like the first line of defense. The people that need to serve, like for when you go shopping or for the hospitals, things of that nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're like a single mother, single father, or whatever, and you're in one of those, I give you kudos for toughing it through 2020 and wait until we got vaccines and things like that. It's still never a fun thing to do when you have to leave the house every single day to go to do your job. Myself, on the other hand, working from home, I helped eliminate a cost, a cost that can pile up pretty quickly depending on how many children you have. Daycare. I helped eliminate a daycare cost of like, you take a look and, give you an idea. My paycheck would only basically be used for daycare at that point,
Right.
my based on my gross pay. It would only cover daycare, and that's it. Nothing else. My wife would be responsible for practically everything else. So, food for thought there. Um, if you feel like you're not actually helping out financially, talk to your significant other. Be like, hey, what's going on? And maybe even take a look at it this way too. Well, one end, I am still helping because, again, now we don't have to worry about another additional cost. If you work from home, you are cutting on some other finances that you may not have had. Let's say you guys have two
Right.
cars, right? But you don't have to necessarily go somewhere every single day. Well, you've cut down on gas. Yeah, you still have that car payment, but at least you're not using the gas all the time.
Right.
So you're you're finding different ways to really balance it out, right? Staying at home, I don't drive too often anymore, even though I still love driving, which is, but I still have that talk and just to bring it up, uh, so so your partner knows where you stand and be like, I feel like I don't contribute enough, but then maybe they can bring out the idea of, oh, you still contribute quite a bit to our financial aspect, just in a different way. So I know it's not a fun topic because it can bring on some unpleasant conversations or even arguments. Um, but I mean, finances for family is significant. Just have an open conversation, honestly. Try to be on the ground, let your partner know where you stand, or maybe even work out a financial plan as well. There are planners out there too. Trust me, there are plenty of resources like financial planners. Maybe if you guys sit down, make a budget, whatever it may be, uh, just to kind of draw the lines of what you're looking or expecting for future as well. Do you want to continue about
Right.
finances?
You communicate on where you want to be and your future aspirations of what you want to do with your life. For example, I might talk. I might not like talking about it mainly because we both want to retire no later than 60, and we are very behind right now as to making that actually happen. So that's why it's kind of hard to talk about because it's kind of like a dream crusher in a way that we've communicated several times what we want to do with our life, and it doesn't involve constantly working a 9 to 5. And it's a difficult conversation to have when you're not raking in the dough with some side hustle, or your job is paying you what you need to have a roof over your head. It's just folks, please communicate money and finances with your partner. It's very important to have that dialogue open and honest, for sure.
Yeah, you bring up a good point too about your plans. Um, there's one other thing I know I don't remember, and that's so bad of me as we were just talking about it. So shame on me for going in one ear and out the other. Um, no, just open mind. That's really what it comes down to. How are you going to communicate it? I think a big thing for all communication though is how you approach the situation right now. Um,
Right.
all right, so we've got a few more maybe to talk about or even take a look at. Um, they're so good. Or I feel like they're all still very important. Grounding rules though, it kind of goes with the standing together.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts here? When let's say, because I've had this before, right? Maybe I'm out of, maybe I'm not home, or maybe you're not home, maybe your spouse is not home, and you're dealing with your children, um, and something goes wrong. Okay,
Okay.
what what is your first way to ground the child?
Sit them on their bed for for as many minutes as they are years old.
Okay, so he's sitting on the bed, taking him
Uh,
away from playtime or whatever
yep.
entertainment,
And then
right?
also removing any fun activities that you like to do, like watch TV. Like you're no TV tonight. You're done.
Right.
You
Okay.
don't really
Okay.
deserve to watch TV tonight.
Okay. So you kind of remove it from for the remainder of the time. Okay. Right. Now, let's take a look at this. All right. Significant other comes home. They're already off the bed. Child's off the bed. They go to this your spouse and go, "Can I watch TV?" Did you communicate before the child asked your spouse? Or
Usually,
okay. So they kind of already in the know.
yeah. What about you?
Hopefully. Yeah, it's kind of very similar. Keeping the spouse in the know is very important in this point, um, because actually at one point we've kind of been on this a little bit here. Um, I was pretty much unaware at one point that a child was grounded, and they kind of had lost you know tablet privileges. Um, but at the same time, I was about to give him a tablet, and then I found out. So I'm like, nope,
Oh,
can't have it then. So,
right.
but there are also times where you do find, you don't find out until after you give it to him too, right? It's like there was no
Right.
communication
Oh,
there. So it it looks pretty bad because all of a sudden it's like one parent basically said, "Here you go," not knowing that the child was grounded. So laying out grounding rules. You also want to make sure that you guys are on the same page for how a child should be grounded. Okay? Let's say your children get into a fight because one person is really pulling the strings, trying to pull the hair of another child, their sibling, for example, and really antagonize them, right? Cause that sibling to lash out. And after their last button has been pushed, you know, get into a brawl or something,
yeah.
causing problems, right?
Right.
I mean, how do you go about punishing that? Are you punishing both children? Are you punishing the instigator? Um, you know, those are very key things just to keep in mind as well. Do you punish both of them because, well, granted, one is younger or what the situation may be? The older one shouldn't be instigating it, or they should know better not to instigate something. Um, but yeah, I feel grounding rules, have something in place. If you're going to take electronics away for them doing something, take electronics away. Um, or, tell them, nope, you can't go play with your friends now because you didn't do this. Um, well, here's a big thing, right? Uh, when a child lies to us and we know they're lying and they just keep trying not to tell us the truth, we have taken away some of the things. Sometimes it's electronics. Sometimes they just don't get the privilege to go spend the night or like hang out with friends, what there may be. Something they're really looking forward to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we've had this recently where, heck, sometimes it's even you just go to bed now. Maybe to some degree. I guess it all depends on how tired they are, or how close it is to the bedtime already, right? It's like, all right, well, now you just get to do nothing else. No snack, no nothing. Just go right to bed. Um, that it kind of just varies on how the mood is, right? Also depending on the day. Like, yes, if there's still plenty of time left in the day and they want to be inside and they were playing electronics and looking forward to playing more and they, lied, it's like, nope, you're done. Sorry. You don't need to lie to us.
Yep.
So, yeah. Usually lying or doing something uh, pretty severe like that does come to electronics being taken away. That's kind of like the inside source of entertainment or when you're stuck inside. Um, but I think now with it being nicer outside and people finding kids wanting to finally go outside, I think taking away time with friends is going to be something. Um, or making sure they sit on the couch doing something that doesn't pertain to really removing any and all entertainment from their life for a little bit is
Yeah.
what you should be trying to achieve. Making them aware of what they did was wrong and they shouldn't do it. So, all right, so that's my thoughts for grounding rules. Making sure you're aligned, knowing what should be taken away, what's appropriate for certain circumstances or the problem. What do you want to talk
I
about?
got the same thing. What are how are plans and appointments done between you and Sam?
Plans and appointments. Um, well, since I'm working all day, like from the time most of the appointments are happening, uh, and typically Sam is the one that schedules the appointments for like the children and everything. Um,
Mm-hmm.
she's usually the one taking them, so she'll plan the appointments, uh, and then she'll take the kids because it's usually she'll do it before she has to go to work or whatnot. Whereas, heck, I'm the one at work from 8 to 4:30, so I don't really have much time to escape. Where she doesn't normally have to work till the end of or 2 o'clock or something like that, 2:30,
Yeah.
and then work till 11 o'clock. So just if the appointment's late enough, maybe if it is like a doctor's appointment or something, and it's later in the day, like after 4:30 or so, yeah, sure, I can do it. Um, if it's a appointment for myself, I do take the time to get off. Sounds selfish, but at the same time, it's for me. I I'm the one making my own appointments at that point, and I have to, make sure I'm making it to them. So I'll do what's most of the time I'll just take my breaks to cover it the time I'm gone. But when it comes to children's appointments, as much as I have done it before, where I do take them, but I'm not normally I'm not the one planning them at all or putting them down. I let Sam handle that because most of the time she'll be able to get off work or she'll be able to fit it into her schedule of being able to get the kids to that appointment or whatnot. Now, as far
What?
as schooling, I'm the one normally dropping them off in the morning at their
Okay.
grandma's, who then will take them to school. Um, then we do a fair amount of working around if anything happens, uh, like the late start days where they have late start on like Wednesdays, every other Wednesday or something. I've usually been dropping them off. Recently, there's been some things inhibiting that ability of mine, or prohibiting, I should say, uh, from actually being able to do that. And that's just meetings, like little team huddles. So I am not able to necessarily do that. But it gets communicated though too, right? I tell, I do tell Sam, it's like, hey, I'm in. Can you get the kids to school? That's gonna come. I don't want to say that's gonna come to an end, but uh, it's just one of those things. So she knows, not necessarily last minute, but it's something recent. I mean, with the with the team being fairly new and everything, going through some training and having meetings between that time made it very difficult for myself to step away because it was training with client. You don't step away from those because they're taking their time to train you. Um, but like this, uh, these team huddles that are happening kind of on a daily basis, maybe I'm going to try to see if we can slowly. I'm going to talk to my boss and be like, hey, can we take it back a little bit here? We don't necessarily need to meet every single day. Um,
Been there,
but
partner.
I mean, there sometimes there are things that need to be discussed from a daily basis, and especially with the early, the very beginning phases. But eventually, hopefully, as a team grows, there's going to be less and less that needs to be discussed on a daily basis. Um, so we'll see how that all works out. But yeah, that's the way we handle plans and appointments. Um, what about you? I'm curious as to what that looks like for you.
Well, since we both aren't like by each other all day and we talk to people throughout the day, like our parents and stuff, we use Google Calendar for all our appointments and plans.
Okay.
Just make sure you invite the other one to set appointment or plan in the calendar, and then that's that. That's what we do. We kind of take turns with the kids and appointments and schools and stuff.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah,
Yeah. Have you
it's
ever had the
simple. We got a
problem
good thing going
where
on.
I like that? Actually, that's a pretty good idea because, there's sometimes now these plans, right? So I was just talking about appointments before, taking the child to a doctor's appointment, dental appointment, right? Sam is typically handling that. Plans, child's school concert, like singing concert or choir concert,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to call it, or um, wrestling. Well, wrestling happens 3 days a week. That's at kind of a set time. Not a big deal. Uh, but some of these things that randomly come up, such as a concert that only happens 1 day a week, or like parent-teacher conferences. You have a couple days here and there that make it work out, or finding the right time slot, right? It's like, great. Now we've got to figure something out. Sometimes people forget to communicate those things. Now,
Yes.
granted, we probably all receive mail that has this, or like children are bringing it home, but how often are both parents really looking at the stuff that comes out of a child's backpack?
Right.
Do both of you, I mean, granted, some people don't have school age children yet, but when that's kind of the thing I'm looking at right now is children that are school age, how do you communicate all that information? Are you actually communicating it, or does the parent kind of hold on to it and be like, expect, because I feel like this happens where and sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it just gets forgotten to be communicated. Um, but all of a sudden it's like, oh, yep, we got a concert to go to. When was this a thing? Oh, we got something about that. I never saw it, and you're now
Yep.
spring this on me. Cool, good job. It's like I told you
We
about it a
left it
week
in my
ago.
locker.
No, well, it's not even. I mean, at that point, it's the child's fault. Now, this is a big thing
Yep.
too. Children need to start bringing their stuff home when the teacher tells them about it. I remember having like a red folder or some type of folder halfway through the week that had all the like very good, like detailed information about what's going on, like a newsletter and things like field trips, slips, things like that were coming home need to be signed by the parent. You had to make sure, not to mention your parent had to sign showing that they had received the folder and the information and looked at it
Oh,
basically,
our
and then you had
parents
to
didn't
return
do
the
that.
folder.
Okay.
So, well, that was just
Good
that was
idea,
my
huh?
school district. It's a great idea. It's but I don't know, things change, right? Um, but that's the way they keep communication going. And if you don't get it signed, well, you just didn't get something for the week, I guess. I don't remember how that all worked out. Um, but with that being said, I mean, communication with kids is key too, or very critical.
Mm-hmm.
Um, especially if they have schoolwork or whatnot. How are you gonna handle that? Um, homework, right? If a child, it's like you got to find some way to make the child do some of their homework, right? As much as I'm against homework, that will be a conversation for another time. But
I've been against
um,
homework since I was 5.
yeah, basically. Uh, thanks for summing it up so well. No, when it comes to homework, right? You try to get your kids on a somewhat of a decent schedule, get it so they get it done. Even if it's not like being turned into the teacher or anything like that. But spelling is a huge thing right now for my fourth grader. Well, tonight he forgot to bring home his spelling words or his spelling cards, so he can't write. And we've started this thing where I remember doing this. Jared, do you remember doing this at all? Writing your words down 10 times for practice.
Yeah.
So let's say you get the word, and right now this week he's
Didn't
doing
help.
contractions. Okay. So he's got where or would have, right? Would have. And so he's got to spell would have, WOULD apostrophe VE. Okay. But he forgot to bring his words home tonight. Well, we've basically told him that he will be writing his words 20 times tomorrow.
Ooh.
I want to throw in a little extra punishment for forgetting his words. It's kind of being blown over. So I wanted him to do it 30 times. I'm like, okay, 30 times might be a little harsh. Maybe
Yeah.
25 times. 5 times for forgetting to bring it home. But then now that you didn't write them down tonight, you now have to write them 10 times tomorrow because that's the original schedule. But then you have to write them another 10 times for forgetting or not being able to do it tonight. But then, do another 5 times for forgetting to bring it home. It is your responsibility to bring home your homework. So,
Yes.
um, now, like I said, there's so many other things to talk about here, folks. I know we can definitely talk more. Maybe we have another episode about some more
We will.
communication side of things. But
Yeah, because we
um,
didn't get into the
point,
children yet, kind of.
yeah, just started dabbling a bit there with the idea of the homework, and maybe
Yep.
punishing and being aligned with how you punish somebody for forgetting to do their homework or bring homework home. Um, But hopefully you get an idea of what it's like to stand together, keeping an open line of communication overall. That's kind of the big thing right there. It doesn't matter if, standing together, plans, appointments, finances, grounding, which kind of, again, falls under the standing together. Um, Open line of communication. If you don't have it, it's going to cause problems. That's, I think, should be the biggest takeaway. Um, so, I mean, for all of you out there, if you do have that open line of communication, excellent. Keep it up. Find out new ways to keep opening that open line of communication. For all you that aren't having such good luck, give it a shot. Be like, hey, this is where I feel stressed because I don't feel like I'm contributing enough, financially, for example. What else can I do? And just have that conversation. Some may be lucky. I know I'm lucky with my spouse, uh, who is very supportive in a sense. Well, not in a sense, but very supportive, um, and just knows what to say as well. In that
Yeah.
regards, be like, you don't have to overdo it to be, you know, helping financially. You are helping in a different way, and here's how. So, you know, God, tonight we definitely need some jokes to bring some more positivity to light. Because I feel like sometimes this can be heavy for people. Um, I know Jared is kind of on the negative end, so hopefully I can lighten his mood a little bit here. Uh, Hopefully, I say hopefully, because dad jokes are the best jokes. Um, yeah. So this one, since we did talk about a birthday coming up and feeling old, I got carded at a liquor store, and my Blockbuster card accidentally fell out. The cashier said, "Never mind."
Yes, that I like that. That's a very nostalgic. Yeah, I like that.
That's nostalgic, but
Works.
it's just hilarious knowing that it's like, oh yeah, you have a Blockbuster card? Those don't exist anymore? Okay. Yeah, I didn't need to explain it. Hopefully. Um I have a joke about chemistry, but I don't think it will get a reaction.
Solid.
What do you Nope, that one I think we've had that before. I'm trying to find ones that I don't think we've done before. Um but I'll bring this one back. Maybe bring it back if for all of you who've heard it before in previous episodes or not. I'm sorry, but it kind of ties into earlier in the podcast here tonight. Um, what do you call Samsung's security guards?
What?
Guardians of the
Androids?
Galaxy. No, Guardians of the
Ah,
Galaxy.
we've done that one before.
Probably in my out of my calendar, my
No,
like
I would
2022 calendar
remember
or
that.
whatever.
That's a great one.
You
I
think you would
like
have
that.
remembered that one? Yeah, yeah. Let's see here. Oh God. All right. Last one here. Shout out to my fingers. I can count on all of them.
Yes, you can.
Oh, here. I think I got another one. A guy walks into a bar, and he was disqualified from the limbo contest.
Oh, I love it.
There we go. Got a good laugh out of Jared tonight. There. So, all right. As mentioned earlier, I know we talked about the shout out. So if you want to I brought up a shout out earlier from one of our podcast listeners. Again, thank you very much for that shout out and providing that. If you would like to let us know about some of your experiences, maybe it's a funny story about listening to our podcast while doing a drive or going to Taco Bell again or something of that nature here, maybe even McDonald's. I don't know. But let us know. You can reach out to us on Facebook, Leashed Dads. You can message us on Spotify, basically, comment. If you have a subscription or what there may be there, um, or you have your account right on Spotify. You can send me a Twitter or DM me on Twitter, TikTok. You can also go to leashdads14@gmail.com. Send us an email. Multiple ways. But yeah, let us know. Thank you again, guys, for being good listeners here, and hopefully we're helping you out or being able to provide some assistance in the life of parenting. Again, we are two leash dads. Feel a little chained tonight, but other than that, guys, have a wonderful night. Jared, again, thank you for being an amazing host, and we'll see you all next time.